Oh boy, do I?
Neat. Let's get started.
And now we'll gather materials.
If at any point during this video you get lost,
Go ahead and stop it. Just do it. It's okay.
we're going to start this tutorial with the alternating square
The
knot.
sitting hammock.
First thing we're going to do is set down the anchor board. Then we're going to take the ropes and fold them lengthwise in half. Place the loops of the rope over the anchor board. Then space them out. We want these to be doubled so that each mark has 2 ropes. Once you have your ropes separated, you're going to take the top 2 ropes of one and then the bottom 2 ropes of the one adjacent to it and group those together. These are going to be your 4 ropes for your knot. So now we're going to take the 2 middle ropes and hold those, and then we're going to start working with the left rope and put that over top the 2 middle ropes, making a loop or the number 4 shape. Then we're going to start working with the right rope, put that one over top the excess left rope, and then go underneath the 2 middle ropes, underneath the loop of the 4, and then up through that loop. So now we're going to tighten that up. And to do that, you might want to secure the 2 middle ropes just to make sure they stay in place. And this is what the first half of the knot should look like. So to start the second half of the knot, you're going to do basically the same thing you did for the first half, only starting on the inverse side. So we're going to start working with the right rope and make a loop to form the letter P. And then we're going to start with the left rope going over top of the leg of the P, and then going underneath the 2 middle ropes, underneath the loop of the P, and then through. And this we will tighten as well. So if you did the knot correctly, you should have a line on the left side and then a hook underneath on the right side. So once you've finished all the starting knots at the top, then we're going to move on to the basic knot. So to start the basic knot, you're going to take an arm from each of 2 neighboring knots and make those your middle knots. And then you're going to take 1 middle rope from those neighboring knots and have those as your outside ropes. So then you're going to do the same knot as you did at the top, making the 4 shape. And then take your right rope and put that over top of just the side, and then go underneath your middle ropes, underneath your 4 loop, and then up and through. And at this point, we are going to use a spacer to give us the correct space between knots. So you're going to feed that under just the middle ropes and tighten up against that. Then we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to take the right rope, put that over the middle ones, and then take the left rope and put that over the leg of your P, and then put it underneath the middle ropes, underneath the loop of the P, and up and through to finish out our knot. And once that's tightened, you'll see it looks the same as the starting ones. Once you've finished all of your basic knots in that row, then you're going to start your side knot of that row. So we're going to remove the spacer just to show the origin of the strings. So your side knot is going to begin with the 2 strings that are on the end that don't have an adjacent knot on one of their sides. So you're going to take those 2 leftover strings, and then the arm and the middle string of the one side that has an adjacent knot, and use those as your 4 strings for the knot. Then you can put the spacer back in. And this will keep your side knots and your basic knots lined up. So for your outside or side knot, you're going to take the 3 ropes and put those over top of the spacer. So you're leaving one outside rope underneath the spacer, the one on the left. And then your 2 outside ropes, you're going to switch basically, or cross them over, and then put the new outside rope underneath. So those 2 initial ropes that were on the outside are now crossed to make sure that after the knot is tied, that our side knots stay secure just as the starting knots. Then you're going to continue with the same pattern you've done before by making the number 4 starting on the left side, and then taking your right rope over that, underneath the 2 middle ropes, underneath the loop of the 4, and then up and through. And then tightening that to the top of the spacer. And then doing your second portion of the knot. So taking your right rope and making the letter P, and then taking your left rope and going over that leg underneath the 2 middle strings, and then underneath the loop and up and through. And that is your side knot. So we have one more knot to end the hammock, which is a different knot from the ones we've been doing. So we'll start the end knot by separating the 4 ropes again. So 2 ropes from the arms of adjacent knots, and then 2 ropes from one from each center rope of the neighboring knots. Then we're going to take those 4 ropes and insert the spacer over. Ropes are going over with 2 ropes on one side. We're grouping 2 ropes together over the spacer, and then 2 ropes going underneath the spacer. And then we are going to tie what we call the end knot, or an 8 knot. So this 8 knot is going to go by taking the right 2 and putting them over top the left 2, and then looping those underneath the left ropes. Then we will tighten that to the spacer. And then we're going to do that exact thing again. So we'll go with the right ropes again and make a loop over, and then put them underneath the loop that we just made, and then pull those tight again. So if you did the end knot correctly, it should look like a figure 8. And then we finish the alternating square knot with the end knot. The next knot in our tutorial is the standard square knot.
The sitting hammock.
The climbing module. Alright, so to begin our square knot, which is going to be the knot for the climbing module, we are going to place our anchor board and then slide the loops of the rope that we doubled over onto the board and space those out. So when you have the loops on the board, you're going to want to separate the loops by the ropes that are over top of the board from the ropes that are underneath the board. And then you're going to want to group 2 of the ones that are under the board with 2 of the ones that are over the board, and making sure that those aren't the same ropes. And then these 4 ropes are going to be our start of our knot. Once you have your strings separated, you're going to want to take the 2 ropes that are underneath the board and start your knot working with those, and then your 2 that are over top of the board. So we're going to take the ones that are underneath, which is going to be in your right hand, and put that over the left, and then up and through the loop that we've just made, and then pull that tight. So it's important to notice that in this knot, when we make the loop, that the rope that started in your right hand is then going to be tightened by your left hand. So then as we go here, we're going to start with the left, loop it over, and put it under and through that loop, and then pull tight. And that is our knot. So as we finish then all of the knots up top, we are going to do the same knot that we've done here, just that standard square knot. And then the only different knot will be the side knot, but that's going to be the same, it'll just have the spacer in it.
I'm trying here. Be glad I just didn't like screw those up.
There we go. Okay, so for our side knot, we're going to use the spacer so that we can keep it in line with the knots that will come in the next row. So that side knot is going to start our next row. So we're going to put 2 of the ropes in one knot over the spacer, and then those are going to go under. And then the other 2 are going to go under the spacer. So for this side knot then, we're going to do the same knot, only tightening up against the spacer. So we'll take the right rope, go over the left, make a loop, and then come up and through and tighten. And then we'll start with the left side, loop that over the right, and up and through, making sure to keep that knot flat when you do it, so don't let your knots or your rope twist with you. You're just switching hands basically when you tighten it. And there we go. And you'll continue that knot throughout the entirety of the climbing module. And then we'll use that same knot to end the hammock, just as we used this square knot, formerly known as the 8 knot, to end the sitting hammock. And that is all. Practice makes perfect. Go Cyclones. Well, guess that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Hope it was helpful.
Yeah, and if you ever get confused by anything, just go ahead and replay the video. It's fine. Talk to your weaving czar, whatever it's called. Yeah. Hope you learned from this.
Good luck. Be safe. Nice.
But most of all, have fun.